The rain started just after 11 at night. It wasn't the gentle kind of rain that makes people smile. This was angry rain, the kind that hits the ground hard and makes loud sounds on metal roofs. The sky turned dark gray, almost black. Lightning cut through the clouds every few seconds, lighting up everything in quick, bright flashes. Jake rode his motorcycle fast down the empty highway. His 4 friends followed close behind him. Their bikes made loud rumbling sounds that usually made people turn and look. But tonight there was nobody around to see them. Just empty roads in the storm. Jake was 17 and he thought he knew everything. His black leather jacket had silver chains on it. His motorcycle was his most important thing in the world. He had spent 2 years making it perfect. Custom paint, special engine parts, chrome that shined even in the dark. He loved that bike more than anything. Behind him rode Mia, his girlfriend. She had long red hair that flew behind her helmet. Her bike was smaller than Jake's, but she rode it well. She was smart and usually quiet. She watched things carefully before she spoke. Derek came next. He was the calm one in the group. He never shouted or showed off like Jake did. His bike was old from the 1970s, but he kept it running perfectly. He actually understood how engines worked. The others just liked to ride fast. At the back were the twins, Ash and Riley. They were 15 and they looked exactly the same. Both had messy brown hair and big smiles. They made jokes about everything. Even now in the storm, they were probably laughing inside their helmets. The group had been riding for 3 hours. They left the city to find empty roads where they could go fast, where nobody would tell them to slow down or be careful. They felt free out here, but now the storm was getting worse. Jake's bike started making a strange sound, a coughing noise from the engine. He twisted the throttle, but the bike slowed down. The engine sputtered. Then it died completely. Jake rolled to the side of the road, his boots splashing in deep puddles. "What happened?" Mia shouted over the rain. She pulled up beside him. "I don't know." Jake kicked his bike stand down hard. He was angry. This wasn't supposed to happen. Not to his perfect bike. Derek stopped too. So did the twins. They all stood in the rain, water running down their jackets. Lightning flashed above them, making their shadows jump. "Maybe it's just wet," Riley said. "Try starting it again." Jake tried. The engine made a clicking sound but wouldn't start. He tried 3 more times, nothing. Then Ash's bike started making the same coughing sound. His engine died 30 seconds later. The twin looked at his brother with wide eyes. "No way," he said. "This is bad," Derek said quietly. He looked around. They were on a small highway outside a town called Milford. Not many people lived here. Just farms and a few small buildings. Mia's bike started coughing too. She quickly pulled under a metal awning attached to an old gas station. The building looked closed. Maybe it had been closed for years. The paint was falling off the walls. The old gas pumps were rusty and broken. But the metal roof kept the rain off. The others pushed their dead bikes under the awning too. Only Derek and Riley's bikes still worked. They turned off their engines to save fuel. Now there was just the sound of rain hitting metal. It was loud like drums. "Great," Jake said. He pulled off his helmet. His blonde hair was wet and stuck to his face. "Just great. We're stuck in the middle of nowhere." "My phone has no signal," Mia said, holding it up. "The screen showed 0 bars. Mine either," Ash said. They stood there not sure what to do. The storm wasn't stopping. If anything, it was getting stronger. Thunder crashed so loud it hurt their ears. Derek walked to the edge of the awning and looked around. The rain was so heavy he could barely see across the road. But then lightning flashed again. In that quick moment of light, he saw something. "Look," he pointed. "There's a light over there." Everyone looked. Across from the old gas station was a garage. It was a small building with big doors. One of the doors was open just a little. Yellow light came from inside. "Somebody was in there, a mechanic shop," Jake said. His mood changed immediately. "Perfect. They can fix our bikes." "At midnight? In a storm?" Mia asked. "Who works this late?" "Who cares? Let's go." Jake pulled his jacket tighter and ran across the road. The others followed him, leaving their bikes behind. The rain soaked them in seconds. It was cold and felt like tiny needles on their skin. They reached the garage and stood outside the open door. The space inside was small but organized. Tools hung on the walls in neat rows. An old radio played country music quietly. Work lights hung from the ceiling, making everything bright yellow. In the middle of the garage, bent over an engine on a metal table, was a person in gray coveralls. The person was small. Really small. The coveralls looked too big, hanging loose on thin shoulders. Dark hair was pulled back in a braid. Grease covered both hands. The person didn't notice them standing there. She was too focused on the engine, using a wrench to tighten something. "Hello?" Jake called out. The person jumped a little and turned around. They all saw her face then. She was young. Maybe 17, same as Jake, maybe younger. She had brown skin and dark eyes that looked tired. Oil smeared across her left cheek. Her hands were small but strong-looking. A girl. The mechanic was a girl. Jake and Ash looked at each other. Riley tried not to laugh. Even Mia seemed surprised. Derek just waited quietly. The girl wiped her hands on a rag. "Can I help you?" she asked. Her voice was soft but clear. Jake smiled. Not a nice smile. The kind of smile that meant he thought something was funny. "Yeah," he said. "We need a real mechanic. Is there one here?" The girl's eyes changed when Jake said those words. They got a little harder, but she didn't raise her voice. She just looked at him calmly and said, "I am a real mechanic." Riley snorted. He tried to cover it by coughing, but everyone heard it. Ash grinned and elbowed his twin. Jake crossed his arms over his chest and looked the girl up and down. She was maybe 5 feet tall. Her coveralls had patches on the knees. Her work boots were too big and made her feet look like a kid wearing her father's shoes. "Sure you are," Jake said. He said it the way people talk when they don't believe something at all. "Look, we don't mean to be rude, but our bikes died out there in the rain. We need someone who actually knows what they're doing." "Is your dad here? Or your boss?" The girl's jaw tightened. She put the wrench down on the metal table with a small clinking sound. "My dad owns this shop," she said. "He's away tonight. He went to a parts auction 3 hours from here. He won't be back until tomorrow morning. So there's nobody here who can help us." Jake's voice got louder. He was frustrated and wet and cold. He wanted this fixed now. "I just told you I can help you," the girl said. "I've been running this garage all week by myself." Ash laughed out loud this time. "Running the garage? You mean like sweeping the floors and answering the phone?" The girl looked at Ash. She didn't look angry. She looked disappointed. Like she expected this but hoped it wouldn't happen. "No," she said quietly. "I mean fixing engines, rebuilding transmissions, replacing brake systems. All of it." "Right," Jake said. He turned to the others. "Come on. This is a waste of time. We'll push the bikes to the next town." "In this storm?" Derek spoke for the first time. "The next town is 8 miles away. And it's after midnight. Nothing will be open anyway." Mia stepped forward. She felt uncomfortable watching the boys act like this. "What's your name?" she asked the girl gently. "Elena," the girl answered. "Elena Santiago." "I'm Mia. These are Jake, Derek, Ash, and Riley." She pointed to each one. 3 of our bikes stopped working. The engines just died in the rain. Can you at least look at them?" Elena studied Mia's face. She seemed to decide that Mia was being honest. "What kind of bikes?" she asked. "Custom builds mostly," Mia said. "Jake's is a modified Harley. Ash has a chopper. Mine is a Yamaha with custom parts." Elena nodded slowly. "Probably water got into the electrical systems. Or your spark plugs are corroded. Could be flooded engines too if you were riding hard before they died." Jake made a sound like he was laughing, but not really. "You don't even know what a carburetor is, do you?" Elena turned to look at him. Really look at him. Her dark eyes locked onto his blue ones. "A carburetor is a device that mixes air and fuel for an internal combustion engine," she said. Her voice was still soft, but now it had an edge like a sharp knife. "But your bike doesn't have a carburetor. It has electronic fuel injection. You have a Delphi fuel injection system with dual sensors. Your engine is a twin-cam 103 with a bore of 3.81 inches and a stroke of 4.37 inches. You probably modified it with high-compression pistons, maybe 11-to-1 ratio. You also have custom exhaust pipes, probably Vance and Hines, and you changed the air intake to a performance filter." Nobody said anything. Jake's mouth opened slightly, but no words came out. The twins stared at Elena like she had just done a magic trick. Derek smiled a little. Mia wanted to clap. Elena kept going. "You probably also changed the cam timing. That makes your engine more powerful, but it also makes it more sensitive to water and electrical problems, especially if you didn't seal the connections properly when you modified it." Jake's face turned red. "How did you know all that?" "I told you," Elena said simply. "I'm a mechanic. A real one. There was a long silence. Rain drummed on the garage roof. The radio kept playing its quiet country music. Lightning flashed outside, making shadows jump on the walls. Derek cleared his throat. "Can you help us?" he asked. His voice was respectful. Not like Jake's had been. Elena looked at all 5 of them. She was thinking. Finally, she said, "I can look at your bikes. But I have conditions. Conditions!" Jake didn't like this. He was used to being in charge. "Yes. First, you do exactly what I tell you to do. If I need you to hold a light, you hold it steady. If I need you to move something, you move it. Second, you don't touch anything without asking me first. Third, you help me move parts and tools. I can't do this alone. We're paying you," Jake said. "You work for us." "No," Elena said firmly. "If you want my help, we work together. Or you can leave." Mia nudged Jake with her elbow. "Just agree," she whispered. "It's either this or we sleep in that old gas station." Jake clenched his jaw. He hated this. Hated that this small girl was telling him what to do. Hated that she knew more about his own bike than he did. But he was stuck. "Fine," he said. "But if you can't fix them, we're not paying anything." Elena raised one eyebrow. "Actually, let's make this interesting. A bet." "A bet?" Now Jake was interested. He loved bets. "If I can get all 3 bikes running before sunrise," Elena said, "you pay me triple the normal rate. And you apologize for being rude. And if you can't," Jake asked, "then you don't pay me anything. And you can tell everyone in town that I'm a fake, that I don't know anything about engines." It was a big risk for Elena. Her reputation was all she had. If word got around that she failed, people might not come to the garage anymore. But something in her eyes said she wasn't worried. Jake stuck out his hand. "Deal," Elena shook it. Her hand was small in his, but her grip was strong, firm, confident. "Good," Elena said. She grabbed a rain jacket from a hook on the wall. It was too big for her too, probably her father's. "Let's go get your bikes. We have about 6 hours until sunrise. That's not a lot of time." They all ran back across the road through the rain. The storm seemed even worse now. Thunder boomed so loud it vibrated in their chests. They pushed the 3 dead bikes across the road one at a time. Jake's was the heaviest. It took 3 of them to move it. Inside the garage, Elena told them where to position each bike. She moved around the space quickly, pulling down tools and setting up work lights. She tied her braid up into a bun so it wouldn't get in her way. She pushed up the sleeves of her coveralls. "Which one first?" Mia asked. Elena looked at the 3 bikes. She walked around each one, looking carefully. She ran her hand along Jake's bike, feeling something the others couldn't feel. She listened closely to each bike, even though they weren't running. Like she could hear something invisible. "That one," she finally said, pointing at Ash's chopper. "We'll start with that one." Ash and Riley wheeled it to the center of the garage under the brightest light. Elena knelt down beside it. She pulled out tools and laid them on the ground in a neat line. Then she put her hands on the engine. "Not working yet. Just touching it. Feeling it." "What are you doing?" Riley asked. "Listening," Elena said quietly. "Every engine talks if you know how to listen." The 5 bikers looked at each other. They didn't understand. But they were about to learn that Elena Santiago could do things with engines that seemed almost impossible. Things that looked like magic but were really just skill, knowledge, and love for machines. Elena took a deep breath. Then she began to work. Elena's hands moved over Ash's chopper like she was reading a book written in metal and oil. She touched different parts of the engine, pressed her ear close to listen, then pulled back and nodded to herself. The 5 bikers stood around watching her. They didn't know what she was doing, but something about the way she moved made them stay quiet. "Riley, bring me that toolbox," Elena said, pointing to a red metal box on the shelf. The one with the silver handle. Riley jumped to get it. He brought it over and set it down beside her. Elena opened it and pulled out something that looked like a pen with a wire attached. "Spark plug tester," she said, seeing their confused faces. "I need to check if the plugs are getting power." She worked quickly. Her fingers were fast and sure. She disconnected wires, tested connections, and made small humming sounds as she worked. Sometimes she would nod. Sometimes she would frown. The others watched like they were watching a doctor perform surgery. After 5 minutes, Elena sat back on her heels. "Just like I thought," she said. "Your engine is flooded. Too much fuel got into the cylinders, and 3 of your spark plugs are corroded. The rain got into your electrical housing because the seal is cracked. Can you fix it?" Ash asked. He sounded worried. That bike was everything to him. Yes, Elena said simply, but it's going to take about an hour. I need to drain the cylinders, clean the spark plugs, and replace your housing seal. An hour? Jake said, and that's too long. We have 3 bikes to fix. Elena looked at him. Then you should hope the other 2 have simpler problems. Now stop talking and let me work. Derek, come here. Derek stepped forward. Elena handed him a wrench. See this bolt? She pointed at the engine. I need you to loosen it slowly. Turn it counterclockwise. But just a little bit. If you turn it too much, fuel will spray everywhere. Derek nodded. He took the wrench and did exactly what she said. His hands were steady. Elena watched him carefully. Good, she said. Now hold it there. She grabbed another tool and worked beside him. The 2 of them moved together like they had done this 100 times before. Elena would say something and Derek would respond immediately. The others watched in silence. You know about bikes? Elena asked Derek while they worked. A little, Derek said. My grandfather taught me basic maintenance. How to change oil. Replace brake pads. Simple stuff. That's more than most people know, Elena said. Your grandfather sounds smart. He was, Derek said quietly. He died last year. Elena paused for just a second. I'm sorry, she said. And the way she said it, soft and real, made Derek feel like she truly meant it. They kept working. Elena sent Ash to get clean rags. She told Riley to hold a work light at a specific angle so she could see better. Even Mia helped, handing Elena tools when she asked for them. Only Jake stood to the side with his arms crossed, watching but not helping. Elena pulled out the spark plugs one by one. They were black and crusty. See this? She said, holding one up. This is carbon buildup. It means your engine is running too rich. Too much fuel, not enough air. You need to adjust your fuel mixture. How do you know all this? Ash asked. Did your dad teach you? Yes, Elena said. She didn't say more. She just kept working, cleaning each spark plug with a small wire brush. Her movements were patient and careful. 20 minutes passed. Then 30. Elena worked without stopping. She didn't complain about being tired, even though she must have been. The bikers started to relax. They talked quietly among themselves. Derek asked Elena questions about engines, and she answered while she worked. Mia noticed how Elena's hands never shook, never hesitated. At 45 minutes, Elena replaced the housing seal with a new one from her parts shelf. This will keep water out, she said. But you should really upgrade to a waterproof housing. This seal will work, but it's not permanent. How much would that cost? Ash asked. About $60 for the part, Elena said. Maybe another $40 for installation if you can't do it yourself. Ash nodded. He could afford that. He decided right then that he would come back to this garage and ask Elena to do it properly. At 55 minutes, Elena stood up. Okay, she said. Let's see if it starts. Everyone held their breath. Elena turned the key. The engine made a grinding sound, then another grinding sound. Then it coughed, and coughed again, and then suddenly it roared to life. The sound was beautiful, loud and strong and healthy, Ash shouted with joy. Riley high-fived his brother. Even Jake looked impressed, though he tried to hide it. The engine purred steadily, no more sputtering or coughing. Elena let it run for a minute, listening carefully. Then she turned it off. It's good, she said. You can ride it. You actually did it, Riley said. He sounded amazed. I told you I could, Elena said. She wiped her hands on her rag. There was more grease on her face now. She looked tired but satisfied. 1 down, 2 to go. She walked over to Mia's bike next. It was smaller than Ash's, with a bright blue paint job. Elena circled around it slowly, looking at every part. She touched the seat, the handlebars, the mirrors. Then she knelt beside the engine. This one's different, she said. This is a 4-cylinder engine. More complex than the chopper. Is that bad? Mia asked nervously. No, Elena said. Just different. It means there are more places where things can go wrong. But also more ways to fix it. She started working again. This time she moved even faster. Her hands flew over the engine, checking connections, testing wires, looking for problems. Jake checked his phone for the time. It was 1:30 in the morning. They had been here an hour already. Sunrise was at 6. That gave them 4.5 hours for 2 more bikes. Jake, Elena said suddenly. I need your help. Jake looked surprised. Me? Yes, come here. He walked over slowly. Elena pointed at a part of the engine. Hold this cover up. I need to see underneath, but I need both hands free. Jake hesitated. He didn't want to take orders from her. But everyone was watching. So he bent down and held the metal cover like she showed him. Higher, Elena said. And don't let it drop. If it falls, it could damage the fuel line. Jake's arms started to hurt after a minute. The cover was heavier than it looked. He wanted to complain, but he didn't. Elena worked beneath it, her small hands reaching into spaces that seemed too tight. Got it, she said after 3 minutes. Okay, lower it slowly. Jake lowered the cover carefully. Elena secured it with bolts. Thanks, she said without looking at him. Just a simple thanks. But it was the first time she had thanked any of them. What was wrong with it? Mia asked. Loose connection in your ignition system, Elena said. The vibration from riding probably shook it loose. Then when the rain came, water got in and caused a short circuit. She kept working. Unlike the first bike, this one took less time. The problem was simpler. At 2:15 in the morning, Elena turned the key on Mia's bike. It started immediately. The engine sounded perfect, smooth and steady. Mia smiled so big her face hurt. Thank you, she said. Thank you so much, Elena nodded. She was breathing a little harder now. 2 bikes in 2.5 hours. She was tired, but she couldn't stop. 1 more to go. The hardest one, Jake's custom Harley. She walked over to it and just stared at it for a long moment. The others watched her. They could see her thinking, planning. Finally, she touched the bike and her face changed. She looked worried. What? Jake asked. What's wrong? Elena didn't answer right away. She opened different parts of the engine, checking things. The more she looked, the more worried she seemed. Finally, she stood up and faced Jake. Your bike has multiple problems, she said. The electrical system is waterlogged. Your timing chain is seized. And there's something wrong with your crankshaft. I can hear it grinding. So fix it, Jake said. But his voice wasn't confident anymore. He sounded nervous. Elena looked at the clock on the wall. 2:20. I'll try, she said. But I won't lie to you. This is going to be very difficult. Maybe impossible. These aren't simple fixes. The garage got very quiet. Outside, the storm still raged. Thunder rumbled like it would never stop. Elena took a deep breath and picked up her wrench. She had 3.5 hours to do the impossible. Elena stared at Jake's bike like it was a puzzle she had to solve in the dark. She walked around it 3 times, stopping to touch different parts, listening with her ear pressed close to the cold metal. The others watched her in silence. Even the twins stopped making jokes. They could see this was serious, Derek, Elena said quietly. I need you to help me take off the side panel. Everyone else, I need space to work. You can sit over there. She pointed to some old chairs against the wall. Mia, Ash, Riley, and Jake walked over and sat down. It felt strange to just watch, but they could tell Elena needed to focus. Derek helped Elena remove the side panel of the motorcycle. His hands were gentle and careful. You're good at this, Elena said to him while they worked. I like fixing things, Derek replied. Always have. But nothing like what you do. Everyone starts somewhere, Elena said. She lifted the panel off and set it aside. Now the inside of the engine was exposed. She shined a light inside and looked closely. Her face was serious. What do you see? Derek asked. Problems, Elena said. A lot of problems. She pulled out her phone and turned on the flashlight. She held it at different angles, looking deep into the engine. Then she reached in with one hand and touched something. She moved her hand slightly and everyone heard a grinding sound. A bad sound, like metal scraping against metal. That's the timing chain, Elena said. It's seized up. That means it's stuck and won't move. The chain is what makes sure all the parts of the engine move at the right time. Without it working, the engine can't run. Can you unstick it? Jake asked from his chair. He sounded worried now. That bike meant everything to him. Maybe, Elena said. But that's just one problem. The electrical system is completely soaked. I need to dry it out and test every connection. And that grinding sound I heard from the crankshaft, that's the worst problem. The crankshaft is deep inside the engine. If it's really damaged, we'd need to take apart the whole engine to reach it. How long would that take? Jake asked. With the right tools and parts? Maybe 8 hours, maybe more. Elena looked at the clock. It was 2:30. We don't have that kind of time. The room felt heavy. The rain outside seemed louder. Jake put his head in his hands. He had been so sure his bike was the best. Now it might not run at all. But Elena wasn't giving up. She stood up straight and rolled her shoulders back. I'll do what I can, she said. Sometimes there are ways to fix things without doing everything perfectly. Temporary fixes that work long enough to get you home. Derek, you're going to be my assistant. The rest of you, try to get some rest. This is going to take a while. Nobody wanted to rest. They all wanted to watch. But Elena was right. There was nothing they could do to help now. Mia leaned back in her chair. Ash and Riley talked quietly to each other. Jake just stared at his bike like he was saying a prayer. Elena and Derek worked together. First, they tackled the electrical system. Elena showed Derek how to use a heat gun to carefully dry out the wet components. Not too close, she warned. If you get it too hot, you'll melt the plastic coating on the wires. Derek held the heat gun at exactly the right distance. His hand stayed steady even though his arm got tired. Elena used cotton swabs to dry out tiny connections. She worked slowly, checking each wire, each connection point. It took almost an hour. At 3:30, Elena tested the electrical system with her testing tool. Lights blinked green. Good, she said. The electrical is working again. Now for the hard part. She moved to the timing chain. She poured special oil into the engine. Oil designed to loosen stuck parts. We have to wait for it to soak in, she said. About 10 minutes. While they waited, Elena talked. Maybe because she was tired. Maybe because the quiet felt too heavy. My mom used to race motorcycles, she said softly. She was really good. Fast, fearless. People said she could feel what a bike needed just by riding it. Derek listened quietly. The others in their chairs listened too, even though Elena thought they weren't. When I was 8, she crashed during a race. Elena continued. Her voice got quieter. The doctors tried to save her, but they couldn't. After that, my dad couldn't ride anymore. He said it hurt too much. So he opened this garage instead. And he taught me everything she would have taught me. I'm sorry, Derek said. That's really hard, Elena nodded. She wiped her eye quickly. Maybe it was sweat. Maybe it was something else. She taught me that engines are alive in their own way. They breathe. They have heartbeats. If you listen carefully, they tell you what they need. She put her hand on Jake's motorcycle. This engine is hurt, but it's strong. I can feel it. It wants to run. After the oil soaked in, Elena tried to move the timing chain. It didn't budge. She frowned. She added more oil and they waited another 10 minutes. This time when she tried, the chain moved just a tiny bit. Then a little more. Her face lit up. It's working, she said. Derek, hand me that long wrench. The one with the black handle. Derek gave it to her. Elena used it to carefully work the chain back and forth. Little by little, it loosened. It took 30 more minutes of patient work, but finally the chain moved freely again. Elena tested it several times to make sure. One problem down, she said. It was 4:30 in the morning now. The storm outside was finally getting quieter. The rain wasn't as hard. But the sky was still dark. Now came the hardest part. The crankshaft. Elena lay down on the cold concrete floor and slid under the motorcycle. Only her legs stuck out. She had a light strapped to her head. Everyone heard her working, metal tools clinking against metal parts. Mia got up from her chair and walked over. Can I do anything? She asked. Actually, yes. Elena's voice came from under the bike.
Can you hold my phone light here?
Shine it right there, see where I'm pointing? Mia knelt down and held the phone where Elena pointed. The light showed deep into the engine's inner parts. Elena worked with tools that looked too small for the job. Her hands moved in spaces that seemed impossible to reach. How did you get so good at this? Mia asked. Practice, Elena said. And I really love engines. I know that sounds strange, but when I fix something broken and make it run again, it feels like magic, like I gave something back its life. That doesn't sound strange, Mia said. That sounds beautiful. They worked together in silence for a while. Derek brought tools when Elena called for them. Jake watched from his chair, his knee bouncing nervously. Ash and Riley had fallen asleep, their heads leaning against each other. At 5 o'clock, Elena slid out from under the bike. Her face was covered in grease and oil. Her coveralls were filthy. She looked exhausted. I can't fix the crankshaft properly, she said. It's too damaged and we don't have the parts. Jake's heart sank. So it won't work? I didn't say that, Elena said. She had a small smile on her tired face. I said I can't fix it properly, but I can do something else, something temporary. She went to her parts shelf and pulled out several items, strange metal pieces and strong adhesive. She showed them to Derek. We're going to create a temporary seal around the damaged area. It won't last forever, maybe a few 100 miles, but it should get you home safely. After that, you'll need to take it to a shop for a real repair. Will it work? Jake asked. I don't know, Elena said honestly, but it's the only chance we have. She got back under the bike. Derek helped her, handing her tools, holding lights. Mia stayed close, ready to help if needed. This was delicate work. Elena had to apply the seal perfectly. Too much and it would block important parts. Too little and it wouldn't hold. The clock moved slowly. 5:15, 5:30, 5:45. Outside, the sky started to change color. Not light yet, but not completely dark anymore. That purple time before dawn. At 5:50, Elena slid out from under the bike one last time. She was shaking from exhaustion. It's done, she said. Everything I can do is done. Jake stood up. Everyone gathered around the motorcycle. It sat there under the lights, looking the same as before. But Elena had worked on it for 3.5 hours. Every wire, every connection, every part had been touched by her hands. Should we try to start it? Jake asked. His voice was quiet. Almost scared, Elena nodded. She was too tired to speak. She just gestured toward the bike. Jake walked over slowly. He sat on his bike that he loved more than almost anything. He put the key in the ignition. His hand shook slightly. Everyone held their breath. Outside, the first light of dawn touched the edges of the sky. Jake turned the key. At first, nothing happened. The engine was silent. Jake's face went pale. He thought it was over. His perfect bike was dead. But Elena held up one finger, telling him to wait. She was listening for something. Then the engine coughed. A small sound like it was clearing its throat. It coughed again. And again. Jake's hand gripped the handlebar tighter. The engine sputtered, making rough noises. Not smooth yet. Not healthy sounding. But it was trying. Give it gas, Elena said. Slowly. Jake twisted the throttle just a little bit. The engine responded. The sputtering got faster. Then suddenly, like a person taking their first breath after being underwater, the engine roared to life. It was loud and strong and beautiful. The most beautiful sound Jake had ever heard. The garage erupted. Ash and Riley jumped up from their chairs, shouting and cheering. Derek smiled wide and clapped his hands. Mia hugged Elena so hard she almost knocked her over. Even Jake, who never showed much emotion, had tears in his eyes. The engine purred. Not perfect. Elena could still hear the slight grinding from the crankshaft. But it was running. Against all odds, with just a few hours and basic tools, she had brought it back to life. Jake let the engine run for a minute, then turned it off. He got off the bike and walked over to Elena. She was so tired she was swaying slightly on her feet. Grease covered her face and hands. Her coveralls were stained with oil. She looked like she might fall over at any moment. You did it, Jake said. His voice cracked a little. You actually did it, Elena nodded. She was too exhausted to say much. Temporary fix, she managed to say. Remember, few hundred miles maximum, then real repair. I'll remember, Jake said. I promise. He reached into his wallet. He had promised to pay triple if she succeeded. The normal rate for 3 bikes would be about $300. Triple meant $900. He counted out the bills and handed them to Elena, but then he pulled out more money. 5 $100 bills. He added them to the pile in Elena's hand. That's too much, Elena said, looking at the $1,400. No, Jake said firmly. It's not enough. You just spent all night saving our bikes. You barely know us. We were rude to you, and you still helped us. He paused, then said the words that were hard for him to say. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry for how I acted. You're not just a good mechanic. You're an incredible mechanic. Better than most people I've met who have been doing this for 20 years. Elena's eyes got a little wet. She tried to blink the tears back. Thank you, she whispered. Mia stepped forward. Can I ask you something? Sure, Elena said. Why do you do this? I mean, it's so hard. You're young like us, but you work like an adult. Late nights, heavy tools, difficult problems. Why? Elena looked around the garage, at the tools on the walls, at the workbench where she had been working when they first arrived, at the old radio still playing quiet music. Because I'm saving money for college, she said. I want to study engineering, automotive engineering. I want to design engines, not just fix them. But college is expensive. My dad and we don't have much money. This garage barely makes enough to pay our bills. So I work, every hour I can, and every dollar I make goes into my college fund. How much have you saved? Riley asked. About $8,000, Elena said. I need at least $20,000 for the first year. Books, tuition, housing, everything. She said it like it was no big deal. Like saving $8,000 while still in high school was normal. But everyone in that garage knew how hard that must have been. How many late nights? How many early mornings? How many times she must have been tired but kept working anyway. You're going to make it, Derek said. I can tell. You're going to be a great engineer. I hope so, Elena said. She smiled a little. Then she looked at the clock. It was 6:15. The sun was coming up outside. Golden light streamed through the garage windows. The storm was completely over now. Just puddles on the ground and clean fresh air. You should probably get going, Elena said. Your families are probably worried. Yeah, Jake said. But first, can I ask you something? What, can I come back? Not just for the repair, but maybe to learn. You could teach me things about my own bike, about engines. Real things, not just the basic stuff. Elena looked surprised. You want to learn from me? Yeah, Jake said. Is that weird? No, Elena said. It's not weird at all. You can come back anytime. Me too, Derek said. I'd like to learn more. If that's okay. I can always use help around here, Elena said. The work never ends. If you want to come on weekends, I can teach you things. And you can help me with customers. My dad would like that. The twins looked at each other. We're not really good with tools, Ash said. But we're good at other stuff, Riley added. We could help clean up, organize parts, answer phones. Whatever you need, Elena laughed. It was the first time they heard her really laugh. It was a nice sound. Okay, she said. You're all welcome here. Mia hugged Elena again. Thank you, she said. Not just for fixing the bikes, but for showing me something important tonight. What's that? Elena asked. That girls can do anything, Mia said. I always knew that in my head. But tonight I saw it. Really saw it. You were strong and smart, and you didn't give up even when it was really hard. You didn't let anyone make you feel small. I want to be like that. Elena's eyes got wet again. She hugged Mia back tightly. You already are like that, she said. I can tell. They started to gather their things. Jake put on his helmet. Derek checked his bike one more time to make sure everything was secure. The twins were already arguing about who got to ride in front on the way home. But before they left, Elena walked over to a cabinet and pulled out a business card. She handed it to each of them. The card said, Santiago and Daughter Repairs with a phone number and address. If you ever need help with your bikes, Elena said, call me, anytime, I mean it. Jake looked at his card. Under the printed text, Elena had written something by hand in small letters. For Jake, remember, engines are like people. Treat them with respect and they'll run forever. Derek's card said, for Derek, you have good hands. Trust them. Mia's said, for Mia, stay strong. The twins' card said, for Ash and Riley, laughter is good, but so is listening. They all stared at their cards. Nobody knew what to say. These small pieces of paper with personal messages meant more than they expected. How did you know what to write? Mia asked quietly. Elena shrugged. I pay attention to people, just like I pay attention to engines. Everyone tells you what they need if you listen carefully. They walked their bikes outside. The morning was beautiful. The storm had washed everything clean. The sky was blue and clear. Birds were singing. Everything smelled fresh and new. One by one, they started their engines. All 5 bikes roared to life perfectly. Well, almost perfectly. Jake's still had that slight grinding sound. But it ran. They had made it through the storm. And they had found something they didn't expect to find. A friend. A teacher. Someone who showed them that assumptions can be wrong. That size doesn't matter. That skill and knowledge and heart are what truly count. They revved their engines and prepared to ride away. But Jake stopped. He looked back at the garage. Elena stood in the doorway, small in her oversized coveralls, grease still on her face. The morning sun made everything glow golden. Behind her, the sign above the garage door read, Santiago and Daughter Repairs in faded letters. Jake raised his hand in a wave. Elena waved back. Then he and his friends rode off down the road, their engines singing in the morning air. Elena stood there for a moment longer. She was so tired she could barely stand, but she felt good, really good. She had done it. She had proven herself. And maybe, just maybe, she had changed how 5 people saw the world. She walked back into the garage. The work light still glowed yellow. Her tools were scattered everywhere. There was so much to clean up. But first she needed to count the money Jake had given her. $1,400, more than she usually made in a month. She sat down on her work stool and looked at the bills in her hand. This money would go straight into her college fund. She was getting closer. $12,000 to go. It seemed like a lot. But tonight had shown her something important. Impossible things could become possible if you just kept working. If you didn't give up. If you believed in yourself even when others didn't believe in you. Elena smiled and put the money in the safe. Then she started cleaning up the garage. Outside, the sun climbed higher in the sky. Her father would be home soon. He would want to hear about her night, and she had quite a story to tell him. Elena was putting away the last wrench when she heard a truck pull up outside. She knew that sound. That was her father's old pickup truck. The engine made a clicking noise that needed fixing, but he kept saying he'd get to it later. She smiled. Mechanics were always too busy fixing other people's machines to fix their own. The garage door was still open. Morning sunlight poured in, making the oil stains on the floor shine like rainbows. Elena's father walked in carrying a cardboard box full of engine parts. He was a big man with strong arms and a gray beard. He wore his usual blue work shirt with Santiago Repairs stitched on the pocket. "Morning, mija," he said. That was his nickname for her. It meant, "my daughter," in Spanish. "You're up early." Elena laughed, a tired, almost silly laugh. "Papa, I never went to sleep." Her father stopped walking. He set the box down on the workbench and looked at her carefully. That's when he noticed the grease all over her face. The oil stains on her coveralls that hadn't been there yesterday. The exhaustion in her eyes, and the big smile that she couldn't hide. "What happened?" he asked. So Elena told him everything. About the storm, about the 5 bikers with their dead motorcycles, about Jake being rude and underestimating her, about the bet, about working all night to fix 3 bikes with complicated problems, about the crankshaft that should have been impossible to fix, but she fixed it anyway. She talked fast, her hands moving as she described what she did. Her father listened without interrupting. He just nodded and smiled and shook his head in amazement. When Elena finished talking, she showed him the money. $1,400. His eyes went wide. "Elena," he said softly, "this is amazing work." "It's for college," Elena said. "That puts me over $9,000 saved now." Her father pulled her into a big hug. She was so small compared to him. When she was little, she used to disappear completely in his hugs. Now at 17, she was taller, but not by much. "Your mama would be so proud," he whispered. Elena felt tears coming, but she pushed them back. "Do you think so?" "I know so," her father said. "She always said you had the gift, the ability to understand machines in your heart, not just your head. Tonight you proved it." They stood there for a moment in the quiet garage. The radio had finally stopped playing. Everything was peaceful. Outside, the town was starting to wake up. Elena could hear cars driving past, someone's dog barking. Normal morning sounds. "You should sleep," her father said. "I can handle things today." "But there's so much to do," Elena said. "The garage needs cleaning. The appointment book has 3 cars scheduled. And Mrs. Chen's van still needs that brake job finished." "And all of that can wait a few hours while you rest," her father said firmly. "Go to the house. Sleep. I'll wake you at lunchtime." Elena wanted to argue. She always wanted to keep working. But her body was so tired her hands hurt. Her back ached from bending over engines all night. "Okay," she said finally. "Just a few hours." "Good girl," her father said. "Now go." Elena walked across the small yard between the garage and their house. It was a tiny house, just 3 rooms, but it was home. She kicked off her work boots at the door and went straight to her bedroom. She didn't even change out of her coveralls. She just fell onto her bed and closed her eyes. Sleep came fast. Deep, dreamless sleep. The kind of sleep that happens after hard work is finally done. Outside her window, the world moved on. Customers came to the garage. Her father fixed a car's transmission. He replaced someone's alternator. He answered phone calls. But he didn't wake Elena. He let her rest. When Elena finally woke up, the sun was high in the sky. She looked at her clock. 2 in the afternoon. She had slept for almost 8 hours. She sat up slowly. Her muscles were sore, but she felt good. Rested. Strong. She changed out of her dirty coveralls and took a shower. The hot water felt wonderful on her tired muscles. She washed the grease out of her hair and off her skin. When she looked in the mirror afterward, she looked like a normal teenager again. Not a mechanic who had just pulled off a miracle. Just a 17-year-old girl with wet hair and clean skin. But she knew the truth. She wasn't just anything. She was Elena Santiago, and she could revive any engine. Her father had made lunch. Rice and beans and chicken, her favorite. They ate together at the small kitchen table. "You had some phone calls," her father said between bites. "From who?" Elena asked. "That boy Jake. He called to make an appointment for next week. Wants the full repair on his crankshaft. Said money is no problem, he just wants you to do the work." Her father smiled. "He also said to tell you that you're the best mechanic he's ever met." Elena felt her cheeks get warm. "What else?" "Another boy, Derek. He wants to know if he can come work here on Saturdays. Said he wants to learn from you. And a girl named Mia called too. She wants to bring her bike in for a full tune-up. Asked specifically for you to do it." "Really?" Elena couldn't believe it. The night had felt like a dream. But it was real. It had really happened. "Really?" her father said. He reached across the table and squeezed her hand. "You're building something here, mija. A reputation. People are going to start coming from all over to see the girl who can fix anything." "That's scary," Elena admitted. "Why scary? What if I can't fix something? What if I fail?" Her father thought about that for a moment. "You will fail sometimes," he said honestly. "Everyone does. I've been a mechanic for 30 years and I still have jobs I can't complete. Engines I can't save. But failure isn't what matters. What matters is that you try, that you give everything you have. And I've never seen you give less than everything." Elena nodded. She understood. Last night could have ended badly. Jake's bike might not have started, but she tried anyway. She didn't give up. "Now finish your lunch," her father said. "We have work to do. Mrs. Chen is coming at 3 to pick up her van." They spent the rest of the afternoon working together, father and daughter side by side. Her father taught her a new technique for adjusting timing belts. Elena showed him the temporary crankshaft fix she had invented last night. They learned from each other. That's how it had always been. At 5 o'clock, 3 people walked into the garage. Elena looked up from the engine she was working on. It was Jake, Derek, and Mia. They all looked a little nervous. "Hey," Jake said. "We hope it's okay that we came by." "Of course," Elena's father said. "You must be the kids from last night. Elena told me all about you." "All good things, I hope," Mia said with a smile. "Mostly good," Elena's father joked. Then he got serious. "Thank you for giving my daughter a chance, and for treating her with respect. That means a lot to me." "She earned the respect," Derek said. "We should have given it to her from the beginning." Jake stepped forward. He held out a bag. "We brought you something," he said to Elena. Elena wiped her hands on a rag and took the bag. Inside was a brand new set of precision tools, the expensive kind. The kind she had always wanted but could never afford. The kind that made detailed engine work so much easier. "We all put money together," Mia explained. "We wanted to say thank you properly." Elena felt tears coming again. Why did she keep wanting to cry today? She blinked hard. "You didn't have to do this," she said. "We wanted to," Jake said. "You saved our bikes, you saved our night, this is the least we could do." Elena looked at the tools. They were beautiful, shiny, and new. Perfect. "Thank you," she whispered. "This is the best gift I've ever gotten." "There's something else," Derek said. He pulled out his phone and showed Elena the screen. It was a social media post. A picture of all 5 bikers standing in front of the garage at sunrise, their bikes all running. The caption read, "When you get stuck in a storm and discover the best mechanic in the state, Santiago and Daughter Repairs saved us. This girl is a genius with engines. Highly recommend." The post already had 200 likes and 50 comments. People asking where the garage was, saying they wanted to bring their bikes and cars there, saying they wanted to meet the girl mechanic everyone was talking about. "You posted this?" Elena asked. "All 5 of us posted it on our accounts," Mia said. "Between us, we have about 2,000 followers. We wanted people to know how amazing you are." Elena's father came over to look at the phone. His eyes got wide. 2,000 people saw this? "More than that by now, probably," Riley said. He and Ash had just walked in, carrying bags of food. "We brought dinner too, hope you guys like pizza." Elena's father laughed, a big, happy laugh. "I like you kids," he said. "You're all right." They sat together in the garage, eating pizza and talking. The bikers told stories about their rides. Elena's father told stories about old cars he had fixed. Elena mostly listened and smiled. She was happy. Really, truly happy. As the sun started to set, painting the sky orange and pink, Jake stood up. "We should probably get going," he said. "But Elena, I meant what I said on the phone. I want you to do the full repair on my bike, and I'm definitely coming back to learn from you, if that's still okay." "It's okay," Elena said. "More than okay." One by one, the bikers said goodbye. They promised to come back soon. They promised to send more customers. They promised to tell everyone about the mechanic girl who could revive any engine. When they were gone, Elena and her father stood together in the doorway of the garage. The sky was beautiful. The air was cool and fresh. Everything felt new and full of possibility. "Things are going to change now," her father said quietly. "You're going to get busy. Real busy." "Good," Elena said. "I need to save for college." "You'll get there," her father said. "I have no doubt." Elena looked at the garage, at the tools on the walls, at the sign above the door. Santiago and Daughter Repairs. She had been working here since she was 10 years old, learning, growing, becoming who she was meant to be. Last night had been hard, maybe the hardest night of her life. But she had done it. She had proven she could handle anything, and now people knew. The girl who could fix any engine, the girl who never gave up. She smiled and went back inside to finish her work. There was always more work to do. But now, for the first time, she felt like everything was going to be okay. Better than okay. It was going to be amazing. 3 months passed like water flowing in a river, fast and constant and full of movement. Elena's life changed in ways she never expected. The social media posts from Jake and his friends spread further than anyone imagined. People from 3 towns over started calling. Then 5 towns. Then people from the whole county. Santiago and Daughter Repairs got busy. Really busy. Her father had to hire help just to answer the phones. They had appointments booked 2 weeks in advance. Elena worked every day after school and all weekend long. She was tired, but in a good way. The kind of tired that comes from doing what you love. Her college fund grew. $10,000, then 12, then 15. Each time she counted it, she felt closer to her dream. Engineering school wasn't just a hope anymore. It was becoming real. But the best change was the people. Derek came every Saturday morning at 8. He learned fast. His hands were careful and his mind was sharp. Elena taught him everything she could. How to diagnose problems by sound. How to feel when something was wrong with an engine. How to be patient when repairs got difficult. The twins, Ash and Riley, came too. They weren't interested in learning mechanics, but they organized the parts shelves. They cleaned tools. They swept the garage floor. They made customers laugh while they waited. The garage felt more alive with them there. Mia came on Sundays. She surprised everyone by being a natural with electrical systems. She could trace wires and fix connections better than most people twice her age. "I like puzzles," she explained. And electrical systems are just puzzles made of wires. Even Jake kept his promise. Every week he came to work on his bike with Elena supervising. She taught him the proper way to repair his crankshaft. She showed him how to maintain his fuel injection system. She made him practice basic fixes until he could do them in his sleep. Jake changed the most. He wasn't cocky anymore. He listened. He asked questions. He admitted when he didn't know something. "You taught me to respect things I don't understand," he told Elena one day. "Not just engines, everything." On a Saturday morning in early spring, Elena arrived at the garage to find all 5 bikers waiting outside. They stood by their motorcycles, all lined up in a row. They were smiling. "What's going on?" Elena asked, suspicious. "We have a surprise for you," Mia said, "but you have to close your eyes." "I don't like surprises," Elena said. "Trust us," Derek said gently. Elena sighed but closed her eyes. She heard movement, footsteps, whispers and quiet laughter. Then silence. "Okay," Jake said. "Open them." Elena opened her eyes. In front of her was a motorcycle. But not just any motorcycle. It was beautiful. Midnight blue with silver detailing. Custom leather seat. Chrome that caught the morning sun and threw back rainbows. It looked like something from a magazine. "What is this?" Elena whispered. "It's yours," Mia said. Elena's eyes went wide. "What? No. I can't accept this." "You can and you will," Jake said firmly. "We all put money together, and we all helped build it. Well, Derek did most of the building, but we all contributed." Derek stepped forward. "The engine is from my grandfather's old bike, the one he taught me on. I've been keeping it in storage. I rebuilt it completely. New pistons, new timing chain, everything. It runs perfectly." "The paint job is from my cousin," Ash said. "He owns a body shop. He did it for free when we told him it was for you." "The leather seat is from my mom," Riley added. "She does upholstery. She insisted on doing it as a gift. And the chrome work is from Jake's uncle," Mia said. "He's a custom bike builder. He wanted to contribute too." Elena stared at the motorcycle. It was the most beautiful thing she had ever seen, but she shook her head. "This is too much, way too much. You should sell this and keep the money." "We don't want money," Jake said. "We want you to have this. You've been riding around on that old bicycle, or getting rides from your dad. A mechanic should have her own bike. Plus," Derek said quietly, "it means you can come ride with us, as a friend, as part of our group." Elena felt tears sliding down her face. She didn't even try to stop them this time. "I don't know what to say." "Say you'll take it," Mia said. "Say you'll ride with us." Elena walked slowly to the motorcycle. She ran her hand along the smooth paint. She sat on the seat. It fit her perfectly, like it was made just for her body, which she realized it probably was. She put her hands on the handlebars. They felt right. "The helmet is in the storage compartment," Jake said. "Custom fit. Mia measured your head when you weren't paying attention." Elena laughed through her tears. "You're all ridiculous." "We're all grateful," Derek corrected. "You changed us. You showed us what real skill looks like, what determination looks like. We wanted to give something back." Her father came out of the house then carrying his morning coffee. He stopped when he saw the motorcycle. "What's all this?" "They built me a bike, Papa," Elena said. Her voice shook. Her father walked over and examined the motorcycle with an expert eye. He checked the engine, the brakes, the tires. He tested the lights. Finally, he nodded with approval. "This is excellent work," he said to Derek. "Your grandfather would be proud." "Thank you, sir," Derek said. Her father looked at all 5 bikers. "You're good kids," he said. "All of you. Thank you for taking care of my daughter." "She takes care of us," Mia said simply. Elena's father turned to Elena. "Well, are you going to ride it or just sit on it?" Elena's heart pounded. "Right now? Why not? It's a beautiful morning. Go, ride, have fun. The garage can wait a few hours." Elena looked at her new friends. "Will you ride with me?" That's the whole point, Jake said with a grin. They all got on their bikes. Elena turned the key in her new motorcycle. The engine started immediately with a beautiful, healthy purr. Not too loud, not too quiet. Perfect. She could feel Derek's work in every smooth vibration. She could feel all their love in every detail. She pulled on her new helmet. It fit perfectly. Of course it did. Jake gave her a thumbs up. Mia waved. The twins revved their engines. Derek smiled at her with calm, kind eyes. They rode out together, 6 motorcycles in a line. Through the town of Milford, past the old gas station where they first met, onto the open highway. The morning was clear and bright. The sky was blue forever. The wind felt like freedom. Elena had never ridden a motorcycle before. She had fixed hundreds of them but never actually ridden one. She always thought she would wait. Save money. Buy something old and used. But now she had this gift. This perfect, beautiful machine that her friends made for her, and she realized something as they rode. This wasn't just about the motorcycle. This was about belonging, about being seen for who she really was, about people believing in her not because she proved herself first, but just because she was worth believing in. The stormy night that brought them together felt like years ago. But it was only 3 months. 3 months since 5 strangers walked into her garage with broken bikes and bad attitudes. 3 months since she worked all night to prove she could do what they thought was impossible. Now they weren't strangers. They were friends. Real friends. The kind who show up, who help, who remember, who build you a motorcycle because they want you to feel joy. They rode for 2 hours, through farmland and forest, past rivers and over hills. They stopped at a diner for breakfast and talked and laughed. Elena learned that Jake wanted to be a teacher, that Mia was applying to art school, that Derek was thinking about opening his own garage someday, that Ash and Riley wanted to travel the world. "What about you?" Jake asked Elena. "Still planning on engineering school?" "Yes," Elena said. "I have almost 16,000 saved now. By next year I'll have enough." "You're going to change the world," Mia said. It wasn't a question. It was a statement of fact. "Maybe I'll just change a few engines," Elena said with a smile. "Same thing," Derek said. "You changed us with engines. Imagine what you'll do with a degree." They rode back to Milford as the afternoon sun started to lower in the sky. When they reached the garage, Elena's father was working on a truck. He waved when he saw them coming. Elena parked her new motorcycle carefully in the garage, right next to the workbench, right where she could see it every day. She touched it one more time, making sure it was real. "Thank you," she said to all of them, "for everything. Not just the bike, for believing in me. You made it easy," Jake said. "You're the best mechanic any of us have ever seen." "The best person too." They said their goodbyes and rode away on their bikes. Elena watched them go. Then she turned and walked into the garage. Her father was putting away tools. "That was good," he said. "You needed a break. You've been working too hard." "I like working hard," Elena said. "I know, just like your mama." He paused in his work and looked at her seriously. "She would be so proud of who you've become. Not just the mechanic part, the person part. You're kind. You're strong. You don't let people make you small. That's what matters most." Elena hugged her father tightly. "I love you, Papa." "I love you too, mija." That night, after the garage closed and her father went to bed, Elena sat on her new motorcycle in the quiet garage. The work lights were off, just the moonlight coming through the windows. Everything was silver and blue and peaceful. She thought about the storm that changed everything. The night that felt impossible but somehow worked out. The people who started as strangers and became family. The engines she brought back to life with nothing but knowledge and determination and love. She thought about her mother, who she barely remembered but felt close to every time she touched an engine. Who taught her through her father that machines have souls, that fixing things is about more than just parts and tools. It's about care, about attention, about believing something can be whole again even when it's broken. Elena knew her journey was just beginning. There would be more storms, more impossible repairs, more people who would underestimate her because of how she looked or how old she was. But she wasn't afraid. She knew who she was now. She knew what she could do. She was Elena Santiago. She could revive any engine, and she could do anything she set her mind to. The moonlight caught the chrome on her motorcycle and made it glow. Beautiful. Perfect. Hers. She smiled and touched the handlebars one more time. Then she stood up, turned off the last light, and walked to the house. Tomorrow there would be more work. More customers, more challenges. But tonight she could rest. She had earned it. The girl who could fix anything. The girl who never gave up. The girl who turned a stormy night into a lifetime of friendships and possibilities. And somewhere in the space between the garage and the stars, she felt her mother smiling too.